Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Fortune Institute's webinar for today, which is entitled The 5 Fastest Ways to Increase Your Company's Revenue. Thanks for being here, and I think you made a good decision. Truth is, we can either have another day at work, which will be pretty much the same as all the others, or we can take an hour out of our day with the anticipation that we're going to learn something that could change our business forever. And that's our aim here today, folks. It's not really just to give you a little bit of entertainment, although I think it's going to be very entertaining, very interesting for you. Our aim is to change your business forever with some of the tactics that I'm going to take you through today. So welcome. And I think it's a great decision that you're here today. Now, before we start, I noticed, Leanne, that you had a question about the sound. If you could, Leanne and others, if you can hear me, just put a Y in the chat box so I can get a bit of a sense as to whether people can hear me. Fantastic. Nath, Jeremy, Deb, Megan, Alfie, Jeet, everybody, Judy, everybody. Thanks very much, folks. We have got this happening. We are ready to rock and roll. So great to have you here. Hey, by the way, if you've got a whole lot of windows open on your computer, just close them. It can affect the broadcasting quality coming through. And in addition to that, I think, and even more importantly, I've always found that if you're just kind of doing other things like doing your emails while you're hearing webinars, you tend not to take much in. It becomes a bit of a waste of time. So this is not going to be a webinar that's going to go for 90 minutes or anything. It's going to be relatively short and sharp and useful. So do yourself a favor, close all the other windows, stop what you're doing, get your earphones on if you can, and really, just dedicate focused time to this webinar. And let's just see if we can really help you on the webinar today. Hey, also, grab a paper and pen if you can, because we're going to be going pretty fast, and I want to make sure that you take down some of these points that I'm going to raise. And even more critically, I want you to act on this webinar and be ready to circle stuff, underline, highlight stuff that you think is particularly relevant to helping you grow your business in the next few months. So with that said, let's jump into the webinar proper. And we're, on this webinar, what you're going to be learning, you'll be learning is actually quite a lot. We'll talk about the one thing you must focus on if you want to rapidly increase your profits. We'll also look at the simple way to make sure you're running the best marketing possible. We'll look at the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make when they meet a potential customer and how it costs you a fortune. We'll look at what you should be doing much more of if you want to grow your business a whole lot faster. And we'll also look at the one thing all high net worth entrepreneurs do to grow their business quickly. So it's going to be very, very useful. So a bit about me. Of course, many of you may know me from the Fortune Institute, but if you happen upon this webinar invitation by some other method, or someone recommended that you jump on this webinar, let me just give you 30 seconds on me. And I do this purely to establish my credentials that I'm worth listening to over the next 45 minutes or so, and for no other reason. I've created 4 different multi-million-dollar businesses. I think that's important, because I think the whole business education world is full of people who have not actually created many businesses themselves that are successful. So I've created 4 different multi-million-dollar businesses. One of them was valued on the Australian Stock Exchange at over $500 million and had over 6,000 full and part-time staff. I've been featured on 60 Minutes twice as a top entrepreneur. Now, featured doesn't mean I was just mentioned. It means that the core story was about me and 2 other entrepreneurs and our success. I've won over 50 business and industry awards. And these days, of course, I am one of the partners at the Fortune Institute, which is Australia's leading mentoring system for entrepreneurs. So I'm a high performance coach, and we coach entrepreneurs all over the world on how to perform better and make more money. And we'll be helping you do that during this webinar. So let's get into the 5 fastest ways to increase your company's revenue in 2017. And the first one, I think this is so critical, is to put marketing first. And here's what we find. And, it's very interesting running something like the Fortune Institute, because we get to see hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs, and we see who's doing well, we see who's not doing well, we see what techniques are working and what techniques aren't working from just every possible business that you can imagine. Everything, literally everything from funeral parlors to businesses for new babies, for those leaving the world and coming into the world. I mean, and everything in between. And here's what I find again and again and again, that the companies, no matter what industry they're in, no matter how old the companies are, or even how old the founders of the companies are, the companies that are doing well are putting marketing first in their list of priorities. And what tends to happen is we all have aspirations to, work on sales and marketing, but things get in the way. The admin gets in the way, the meetings get in the way, client requests get in the way. I mean, that's a huge one. And then all of a sudden, we find it's been a year since we've done any meaningful marketing. Maybe it's been 5 years since we've really done concerted marketing, and maybe we just grew based on our reputation and we never really did any marketing at all. But things get in the way, and it becomes something that we try and do in our spare time instead of something which is done as one of the first things we do each day. And this is critical. If you can just do more of this, then it's going to make all the difference. But most people let other stuff get in the way, and the result is very slow growth. I mean, as I mentioned, we see the numbers for so many Australian businesses, and you wouldn't believe how slow some of them are growing and how flat some of them have been for years. And I can tell you the reason is they're not putting marketing first. And it's not just slow growth, it's hugely stressful. I mean, look, if you've got a family to feed, if you've got aspirations of what you want to have in your life, you've got to pay off your home loan, you want to, go overseas, you live a great life, it's incredibly stressful not to be growing as the years tick by. And, you kind of see your dream slipping a bit, or you're under pressure just to pay the bills or pay the staff, for instance. It's very stressful, extremely stressful. And that can be fixed if you stop making marketing an afterthought and making it your primary thought. When you put marketing first, a whole lot of good things happen. First of all, revenue comes in consistently. And we like to say it's like clockwork. On a good business with good marketing funnels, yes, you don't know the exact day the revenue is going to come in, but over the month, you generally know how much new business you're going to put in. And that massively reduces the stress, of course, because you have faith that your business is going to grow consistently. And in addition to that, you can relax. Now, the reality is this, that, business, I don't think, is ever going to be relaxing, because if you're a top business person, you're always pushing to rise to a higher level, to make your staff work better, to get better results. And so there's going to be a degree of tension in any successful business. But comparatively, you're going to be able to relax because the income's coming in. And let me tell you, that's a great thing, because there's a lot of Australian entrepreneurs who do 10 or 15 years of high stress and worry, which is incredibly debilitating to their life satisfaction and happiness levels as well. So how do we do this? How do we put marketing first? Well, at the Fortune Institute, when we work with clients, we give them a comprehensive map, a blueprint for how to take their business forward and grow it and take it to the next level. But what I want to do to make this webinar really useful is I want to just give you a number of techniques that you're going to find very helpful. All right. And so just, if any of these resonate with you, just write them down and think about using them in your business. So the first technique is to block out the calendar with times to spend on marketing. So, you might say, okay, every morning from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., I'm going to spend it on marketing and building my business. Now, any client meetings, any staff meetings, they got to be after 10 a.m. That's a great technique. If you can spend the first 90 minutes of your days spent on marketing, on building the business, it's a game changer. But here's the thing. You may have all the intentions, I bet you have before, but if you don't put it in your calendar, if you don't block it in your calendar, then it's never going to happen. Now, here's the reality, folks. The reality is this, that your clients aren't the most important part of your business. Your staff aren't the most important part of your business. You are the most important part of your business. Your income, your future, your wealth is the most important part of this business. So unless you start treating meetings with yourself as important and start blocking them in the calendar and giving them as much respect as meetings with clients or meetings with staff, well, unless you do that, you'll always be the slave of your clients and the slave of your staff. And then suddenly 5 years later, you haven't built the nest egg that you wanted to. So you've got to block it out in the calendar and put it first. Second of all, you've got to do it first thing in the morning. This is critical. Once again, time and time again, we see that the Australian entrepreneurs who do new business reach out systems, and we can teach you all those, but who do new business reach out systems in the morning get more stuff done. And it parallels the research on exercise, that people who do exercise in the morning are much fitter. It's a simple fact. They are much, much fitter because all the other stuff doesn't get in the way. And you've got the energy and the optimism of the morning. Whereas sometimes, you say, okay, I'll do it at 4 p.m. and you don't have the energy and you've been hit by a bad day. And so you just forget about it. So you must do it first in the morning. Now, here's a question for you. And for those people who haven't been on one of these webinars before, you'll notice a little chat box. And so the question I've got for you is just put just an answer, and it'd be great if people could contribute to this. So we get a sense of what other Australian entrepreneurs are thinking. So who currently has time blocked out in their diary to work on their marketing? So just put a yes or a no, or a Y or an N. If you in the chat box, we don't use second names, so it's all anonymous. Yes, Judy. Yes, Deb. Mark. Yes. Lisa. Jack. Lynn. Yes. No. From Alfie. Leanne. Yes. Dean. Yes. Adam. Yes. Ross. Yes. Lynn. No. Okay, interesting. So it's a good amount of yeses. George, no, but I do have a person dedicated to marketing. Okay, good. Not constantly, says Tito. Yeah, that's often. I think Tito's answer is often what's happening is we have it a bit. We do a bit. Ross, yes. Prasad, yes. We have it a bit, but we don't necessarily do it as constantly as we should. Just have a think about that. Am I doing it as constantly as I should, as Tito suggests, or am I doing it sporadically? Am I designing my business with marketing at the front, or marketing as just a nice to have? All right, interesting stuff, guys. Fantastic. Thanks for that. Okay, let's move on. We're talking about the five fastest ways to increase your company's revenue. Next up is, it's really important to do lots of low-cost tests. And here's what we find, that most Australian entrepreneurs don't try many things. It's not like they go to a buffet and they try a bit of this and a bit of this and a bit of this. No, that doesn't happen. What tends to happen is that we just rely on referrals to get business. I see that again, probably 8 out of 10 businesses. I see that referrals are the main way to get business. If referrals are the main way to get business for you, that means two things. First of all, you've got a good product, good service, good quality. So that's great. Second thing is you've got almost no marketing system. Referrals should not be the main way you get business. You should have other ways of bringing in business that is very, very powerful. But most people don't try many things. So, they might try AdWords and it doesn't work. So they just stop and they just rely on word of mouth or something like this. You've got to try a lot of stuff. So most people don't try many things. And as a result of that, their growth is really slow. It's like you're pushing and pushing and pushing, but there's something there that's slowing you down that you can't see. And that usually is a lack of experimentation, methodical experimentation. And here's the key: short, inexpensive tests unlock the code. And really, business is like a combination lock. It's just little tweaks here, little tweaks there. but you're unlikely to guess that combination straight off. You've got to do methodical, low cost, short length of time tests until, let's say you do 6, 7, 10 tests. You work out the 2 things that are really going to work, and then you're great for the next 10 years. Whereas someone who only does 1 test a year, 0 to 1 test a year, 10 years later, they reach the progress that you made in 6 months. And it's going to save you decades of time. You're going to be probably working for, decade or 2 or 3 or 4 going forward. So you want to save as many decades as possible. And doing regular, short, quick tests is the pathway to do that. So how do you do that? What are some ways to do tests? Now, obviously, in our programs, we make sure that our entrepreneurs are always testing stuff in a methodical, simple way, and always improving their results. So let's give you some ideas on how to do that. There are 3 primary areas for testing, and you want to make sure that you've got these right. So write these down and just have a think about this. The first area you should be testing is different media. Here's what we find. We find people are usually doing 1 or 2 different types of marketing media. Oh, Facebook ads are working for me, and occasional letters to people are working for me, or networking events are working for me, and speaking is working for me, or AdWords is working for me, and radio ads are working for me, or door-to-door selling is working for me, and emails working for me. Very few people have tested all those mediums that I just mentioned, and there are plenty more. In fact, very few people have tested 80% of the mediums that I just mentioned. And if you're getting good results from one of them, who's to say you couldn't triple the size of your business if you got 2 or 3 other media really working for you? And I tell you, time and time again, I've seen people who've spent, 10 years getting their clients just one way, and then they tested another way and found that it worked even better than the technique they've been relying on all this time. And so, you really do save decades when you do these tests. So testing different media, number 1. Number 2, test different offers. You can say to someone, you can offer 50% off, or you can offer 2 for 1. And in many ways, to you, that's the same kind of offer. I'm giving 2 products for the price of 1, or it's 50% off. But you'll get totally different results with those 2 different offers, even though they're very similar. So you want to make sure that you're always testing different offers and seeing what's most appealing to your target audience. And then the third area is to test different audiences. And there's so much money in this. If you're testing anyone, maybe you should test only people above 50. If you're testing anyone, maybe you should focus in on women. If you're just testing, if you're just got one particular audience, maybe there's a wealthier audience that might really unlock potential income for you. So have a look at those 3: testing different media, testing different offers, testing different audience. And here's a question for you. How many of these, and remember, it's not a competition to be right. What we're trying to see is how Australian entrepreneurs are going, what we need to improve, what are we doing well. Out of those 3, how many do you regularly test? 0 out of 3, 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, or 3 out of 3? Let's have it. Adam is 0. Thanks for your honesty, Adam. Pine is 3. Deb is 1. Jacqueline 1. Jeremy 0. Jess 2. 3 from Tito. Lynn 2. Alfie's 2. Curtis 2. Lisa 2. Okay, good stuff, guys. So what's interesting here, first of all, well done for those people who are doing some multiple testing. But what's interesting is almost nobody's testing 3. So that's exciting to me. To me, like if I had you in the room, we were coaching, I'd say, wow, let's have a look at what you're not testing. And then let's put, Prasad, there's 2 as well. Let's put out let's create a whole system of testing that 1 or 2 mediums that you're not testing currently. And let me tell you, there's very possibly a gold mine for you when you start methodically and effectively testing. Very interesting question to ask yourself, isn't it? Very interesting indeed. Okay, so we're talking about the 5 fastest ways to increase your company's revenue. Let's keep going. The third is to stay in touch with your leads. Oh my goodness, did I muck this up early in my career? I can tell you, I think I worked out, I was 17 years in business, 17 years in business before I worked out the importance of staying in touch with old leads. Here's the question. Who gets married on the first day? So many people will say no to you. And what do so many Australian entrepreneurs do? They move on to the next person. Now, of course, you're going to move on to the next person, but don't forget the person who said no to you, because there could be a million reasons that they said no. They don't have the money right now, and they don't want to tell you. They're about to split up with their business partner. They're about to move offices. They've got a tax issue. There's just so many reasons they might say no to you, and you might never know what they are, right? And remember that a lot of the reason they're saying no is they just haven't got to know you. Just like, getting married, they got to get to know you first. And after a while, they get even more attracted, committed to you. And then, some of them become, from a business point of view, become wedded to you for life. So just remember, unless you stay in touch with people in a methodical, organized, persuasive way, then you're throwing away potentially 7 out of 10 of your likely future customers. And this is what so many people do. They just endlessly look for new potential customers instead of mining and nurturing the leads that have already currently said no or not right now to you. So here, most entrepreneurs do what I call impress, then rest. And I know this very well because I did this. I do these great credentials presentations, and I walk out of there and I go, wow, that person, I reckon they really like our stuff. They're definitely going to hire us when they need someone. And then who's ever found this? 9 months later, you find out they've already given the company, given the account to someone else. Ross has just typed in huge letters, guilty, exclamation mark. Yeah. And it's a classic, isn't it? You go, why didn't they go with us? We had such a good meeting. Because you've got to stay in touch with them. And here's the killer point. And I know this sounds bizarre. And if we were here one-on-one, I'd take you all through how I know this. But generally speaking, it's not the best company that wins. It's the company that stays in touch. And that was the exact opposite to what I thought in the first half of my business career. And I can take you through it, how it works. But basically, as much as you think they're just going to hire you if you're the best, it ain't that. Just stay in touch with them. They're the ones who get hired. Trust me. And so people who just impress and rest, it leads to much, much less sales. I can confidently say if you're doing that, your company is not half the size it should be, and potentially even more extreme growth is possible. You need a stay in touch system. You can't just have the intention to stay in touch, because you just get too busy. So what do we got to do? We've got to create a methodical, easy to implement system. And what we do at Fortune is you work with your business coaches inside the Fortune Institute to make sure your system is being kept up, it's current, and you're staying in touch in a persuasive, compelling way. So your stay in touch system has a number of characteristics. First of all, it's got to keep you top of mind, so that when they think of somebody in this area, 9 out of 10 times people are thinking of you. It also it's got to build your authority. It's not just that you're the company that they think of, that they really think that you're a true expert, a genuine leader in this field. And thirdly, your stay in touch system's got to be easy and simple to do. Otherwise, you ain't gonna do it. As soon as you get busy, you're gonna abandon that if it's a hassle to do. And just have a think, do you have a system that keeps you top of mind with, I'm talking about hundreds of clients, potential clients. Build your authority, that they see you as a leading expert in the field, and is easy and simple. Now, the answer is automated emails. That is by far the easiest way to run a system like this. You write your content every few months, and you run your content. Sometimes you can run a whole year's content in advance. And you just one click of the email and it goes out to everybody. In fact, You're not even there half the time. You can, in your CRM system, you can schedule those emails so they happen literally, potentially for years in advance without you even expending any more effort on it. But here's the trick. You must have a menu of content. And by that, I mean, you must have pre-designed a whole lot of persuasive pieces that you're going to send them. Now, without going on for 5 hours, I mean, at Fortune, we have just all these different ways of helping you create great content and telling you how to create great content, that where people will go, wow, this person's expert, this person's awesome, I must use them when the time comes. So here's a question for you. How many, just so we get a sense of Australian entrepreneurs, right? Remember, it's not a right, wrong. We're just trying to get a sense of what's happening here in Australia. How many content emails, so you sent quality content, you weren't just asking for a sale or saying hi, you sent quality content. How many content emails did you send your potential clients in the last month? Any number's fine, guys. Let's just have a look. How many content emails did you send your potential clients that were persuasive how good you were in the last month? Jacqueline 1, Jess 1, might have lost someone there. Deb 1, I think. Mark 1, Jeremy 0, Ross 3, George 1. Pine is 2 every week. Curtis is 1, Alfie 1, Edward 1, Lynn. We have planned to start this week. Yep. Megan 1 every week. Okay, interesting. Okay, so most people, what we can see there, and by the way, this isn't even a true test of Australian entrepreneurs, because you guys and girls are going to be a long way ahead of most people, because you're learners, you're educators, you're even on a webinar like this. So anyone's answer is greater than the majority of Australian entrepreneurs. But what we get is pretty much people are sending, on average, the vast majority of you are sending out one content piece per month. Now, I'll tell you why that's a hassle. Because according to Infusionsoft, the average open rate is about 13 or 14%. So if you're only communicating once a month, it's quite possible, let me do my maths, that they're only opening 1 or 2 emails from you a year, with a 13 or 14% average open rate of an email send. Now, yours may be higher, it may be lower, but I'm just saying that we always think we're bothering people, but the truth is they're hardly seeing most of our emails, which is kind of sobering, isn't it? So just have a think about that. Should you be sending more? Is the content quality good enough? Food for thought, talking about the 5 fastest ways to increase your company's revenue. Number 4 is to triple your offers. To triple your offers. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, most people are too scared to ask for money. So you've got one major service that you offer, or 1 or 2 services that you offer, or a handful of products that you offer. Here's the thing. And we've seen this time and time again, if you just make more offers to your potential client base, more people say yes. Now, I know that sounds obvious, but generally, at least 8 times out of 10 with Australian businesses that we see, we can easily increase the amount of offers that we reach out to potential customers, the amount of options that we give people. And in almost every case, it significantly increases their income. Most people are too scared to really ask regularly for money. And you ask by saying, hey, we got this great offer, would you like to take advantage of it? So there's plenty of ways that you can create more offers. And when you do, it's going to lead to a whole lot more money for you. So let's just go through some of the types of offers. You could bring your potential clients up and talk about a new service, or just create a new service and start telling your clients about it. You could talk about a new deal. We're offering 20% off in the next 30 days, or a new deal for new people who start, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You could talk about new staff and make an offer. We've got this incredible person, he's one of Australia's top experts in this new area. We've just hired him. Would you like to have a meeting with them and let them audit your business and see how we could help? New education, or look, would you like to come to a lunch that we're having? A lunch will be 10 or 15 people there, and we're going to take you through how to save money on this or how to do a better job on that, and offer new education. So many different opportunities for you to do new offers, services, deals, staff, education. Be in communication more with your potential clients, giving you a much greater opportunity that more of them will say yes. So if you do this, they're going to remember you and they're going to buy from you. Hopefully they'll use US dollars. Like that picture, very hard to find pictures with Australian money off the internet, but with the exchange rate, we'll take it. So here's the question for you. What else? No need to type this one in. No need to type this one in. I want you just to have a think. What else could you offer your clients? Just have a think for 30 seconds, okay? You by yourself, just have a little brainstorm. I'm going to have 30 seconds of silence, okay? And just think, what else could we offer our clients? Or could we offer a premium version of what we do? Just have a think right now. What else could you do that would bring you more money? How else could you reach out with something new that would pique their interest? Interesting question, huh? Hey, just type this one in. Just put a Y or a yes if just in that kind of 30 seconds you did come up with an idea of other stuff you could ask your offer your customers. Judy, yes. George, yes. Tito, yes. Lisa, yes. Lynn, yes. Jacqueline, 4 ideas. Lisa, yes. Jeremy, yes. Alfie, yes. Jess, yes. Curtis, yes. Mark, yes. Isn't that fascinating, folks? Isn't that fascinating? That just in literally, it couldn't have been more than 30 seconds, that almost everybody's come up with new ways and new things to offer their clients. That's exciting and potentially really profitable for you. Good stuff. Well done. Okay, so 5 fastest ways to increase your company's revenue. We go on. Next is to get a business mentor. So important. What I see again and again and again is even the richest people in the world have mentors. Here is an example. Eric Schmidt, billionaire, chairman of Google, billionaire. He's got a mentor. And the reason I know that is there's a YouTube video where he talks. If you put his name in, Eric Schmidt coach, up on YouTube, I'm sure the video will come up. He talks about how it doesn't matter how big you are, you want to get better. You want to push yourself to rise to a higher level, and you've got to have a coach. So if he as a billionaire needs it and gets value from it, then we should always be making sure that we have a coach. Literally, I had a meeting today with someone here in America, in Los Angeles. Someone flew in from the Netherlands in order to be coached by me. Super fast growing company, valued at $50 million already on the stock exchange. And they still want to have a meeting and try and get better, right? So this is what we see again, literally this morning. So again and again and again, top people are always trying to get better, get mentors. Okay, so a business mentor will do so much for you. They're going to show you how to make more money. Just like them, we asked that question and we said, come up with a new service. And almost everybody who did the exercise came up with a new service. There's so much more potential money a coach can show you how to make. It can save you 20 years of mistakes. It really can. I've certainly been saved decades and decades from people who mentored me. Connects you with the best people. They know people you don't know. And, that can really help you put on a lot of business. It can help turn your company around. If you're dissatisfied with how your company's going, or maybe it's heading in a bad place, well, usually someone coming in who's expert and who's objective and knows what they're doing can solve that for you. And it can take your own business and your own profits and your own abilities and talents and aptitudes to a whole new level. Now, here's a question for you. Why did you attend this webinar? Why did you attend this webinar? Just have a think about that. Could be a variety of reasons. You could be just feeling limited. Even if you're going really well, you might be saying to yourself, you know what? I feel like I could be doing more. I could be achieving more. It could be that you feel that you just can't break through to the next level. You kind of plateaued a bit. You know, things went well for a while, but the last year or two is real plateau. It could be that you're not earning the money you feel you deserve. And I think the bonsai tree is a great symbol of this. It's a really good tree. It's actually, you know, wonderful and beautifully formed. Like your business could be a really good business, super high quality, really good staff. It's just too small. Shouldn't be that small. Had the potential to be 20 times, 30 times bigger, and isn't realizing that potential, even though it's excellent. And that's why I love the bonsai as a symbol of Australian businesses, or some of them, you know, what they could potentially be. So look, whatever reason you're on this webinar, the truth is that the fastest ways to rise up are to put marketing first on your agenda, on your calendar every single day, instead of putting your clients first, instead of putting your staff first. To do lots of quick, low-cost tests. I can tell you very few entrepreneurs are methodically testing. To stay in touch with leads and really kind of nurture them over time, because I can tell you, I remember, here's an example. I used to, I did a project for Holden, and I found out that only 2% of Australians ever want a new car at any one point in time. So what they've got to do is they've got to nurture 98% of Australia to get them over time to want to buy a car. You would have a similar situation, 2%, 5% of your client base is ready to buy right now. So you got to nurture them and stay in touch. And triple your offers. You know, you just do this. I guarantee you do this in the next 6 months, you're going to make a whole lot more money. And of course, get a business mentor, because I mean, these are mostly stuff that you weren't thinking about yesterday, but now you are, because someone's mentoring you here on this webinar. So mentoring definitely works. So really you have a choice now, and you're totally free to do whatever you like. And I wish you the very best, whichever direction you go. But there's really two doors. You're going to, one of these you're going to kind of enter in the next few minutes when you finish this webinar. The first is you're going to keep doing the same things. Now, if your business is growing really fast, if you're very satisfied with how much money you're making, if you're feeling very good about your work and the future of your company, I suggest you go down that door, that you keep doing more of the same. Not just doing the same, by the way, but doing more of what's really working for you. However, if you're not delighted, if you know you can go better, if you can be taken to a higher level, then for goodness sake, switch to a proven income increasing system. Don't just go back to work and say things are going to be different, because, you know, there's an old Chinese saying, if you keep on going down the road you're going, you'll get there. That's kind of sobering, isn't it? You know, if you're not headed in the right direction, for goodness sake, turn around, do something fundamentally different, take some major action, and learn a proven system. Instead of speculating and doing trial and error, which is painful and slow and costly, just learn from someone who's already done it. And the system I want to talk to you for a few minutes today on is our system, the High Achiever Program. And I want to talk about it because it's probably the most established business program of note in Australia. And it just has countless entrepreneurs who've made serious money being inside the High Achiever Program. And it's perfect for particular types of business owners. It's perfect for people who want to generate more leads and are hungry to generate more leads. It's perfect for people who want to increase their price. So we tell you a whole series of different ways of getting a higher price from your clients. It's also perfect for people who want to create consistent revenue growth. If you're sick of the roller coaster of revenue, 1 month you got it, another month you don't, 1 month you've got it, next 3 months you don't. If you're just sick of that roller coaster, then this system is perfect for you. And we really tend to attract 3 types of clients into our High Achiever Program. The first is those that want to generate leads that are ready to buy now. Now, that's a key distinction. Not just generate leads, but people who are ready to make a purchase decision now, who want a reliable, predictable business growth system. You saw that picture early on like clockwork. That's our aim. Who want to improve their sales conversion. And if you've got those three things, maybe one of them, maybe two, maybe all three, then our high achiever program is going to be extremely useful for you. And there are primarily four things you get in the high achiever program. The first is an extraordinary business growth techniques to grow your business faster. We're going to tell you stuff that you've never thought of before. And the moment you hear it, you will go, I can immediately increase my revenue doing that. From the moment you hear it, you go, anyone in my industry, if they just did that, would increase their revenue. And you don't know these techniques. I'm telling you, it'll knock you out. What we know, the methods we know to grow your business faster. 2, advanced mindset and extreme productivity systems to maximize your performance. It's so important. A lot of businesses are mindset game, particularly when you're an entrepreneur with not much support around you and you're trying to take it to a whole new level. Also, how you're using your productivity. Like, this is a great science. It really is. And if you combine an advanced mindset with extreme productivity, let me tell you, even if you don't change your marketing, you're going to get a whole lot more done. And people who want accountability to rocket your results. So people who want a coach to say, how are you doing on this? How'd you go? You said you get this done in the next couple of weeks. Can I help you do it? Did you have any stumbles? Can I get you over that hurdle? Truly, someone to be accountable to. As soon as you have accountability, it doesn't matter how good you are going to get better, and you're going to get wealthier when you've got business accountability. And finally, community. People who want to be amongst other top entrepreneurs who are wise, who, you know, your lunch break and you're having lunch with other entrepreneurs, and they're telling you, hey, I know how to solve that. I had the same problem myself. It's worth potentially millions of dollars to be surrounded by other top entrepreneurs. And here's what we find in Australia is a lot of entrepreneurs are lonely. They're lonely for other people who are like them, who understand their problems, who have been through what they've done and have conquered some of the problems that you're still struggling with. So business growth techniques, advanced mindset, extreme productivity, true accountability for better results, and community of great entrepreneurs. That's what you get in the High Achiever program. And have a look at, I mean, truly, I think there's something like over 30 videos, and we haven't even cut most of our testimonials just on our website. There are so many of them, but here's a few. Anthony Egrat from Contractors Debt Recovery doubled revenue in 12 months. Improved his close rate from 34% to 78%. That means that almost 8 out of 10 people who call him buy from him. Imagine you could say that. Chris Thomas from Play, a market research company, 103% increase in revenue working with us for just 6 months. Lincoln and Zach Remar brothers, and they've got, look at this. They grew their client base 180% in the first 6 months working with us. They've got 20 different tennis schools. Works for any industry. Morgan Civil, James Leapridge, 92% increase in revenue in 1 year. Mark Hunter, larger company, increases revenue by over $10 million. Some of you would have seen Hunter Express Security Company. Huge increase. Asako Nakamura, 965% increase in revenue in 24 months. We're not talking about someone who's just a startup either. Like, from decent revenue, 965% increase. These people are making millions. I can assure you, Asako and her business partner. Very, very powerful. Michael Bird, Social Garden down in Melbourne, increased revenue, that's a digital marketing company, increased revenue over 290% in just 1 year working with us. Venture capital is begging to have them invest in their business. And literally, I was only hearing today how they're just kind of pushing them away because they don't need it, because they're growing just on cash flow so well. Charles Corkery from Diamond Catering Solutions increased revenue by 101% just 1 year. This is serious stuff, guys. This is, you know, think about these kind of results if you got them in your business. And we can never guarantee you get these results. That's unethical. What I'm saying is, it ain't uncommon. People in the High Achiever program, you know, you want to have a chat to Mark Holderman, one of our partners. He's like totally up to date on the case studies. They're phenomenal, and they're happening all the time. They're very, very real. They're not occasional. I'll give you an example. Every quarter we have a special weekend in the High Achiever program. Every quarter we've got a stage full of people talking to the other members about their phenomenal sales results. That's how common it is. Every 90 days, there's another stage full of people talking about incredible results using our program. Okay, so I want to give you a very special offer for being on the webinar today. I know you had a million things you could have done. We're wrapping it up in a second. Here's the offer. I want to get you inside the High Achiever program for just $1. Want to get you inside our program for just $1. Try it, experience it for a few weeks. Enter, do 2 days with us, see what it's like. Let us build out a 90-day program. Let us help you build an awesome business. Try our hardest and only pay $1. All the risk is on us. All the risk is on us. Give yourself a gift for 2017 of a massive potential upside for your business. And who's this deal for? Well, it's for entrepreneurs who know they could grow twice as fast if only they just had the right marketing knowledge. If you feel that's you know you got that potential. If you just knew a bit more, then you're for us. If it's for business owners who would perform much better if they were held more accountable. And I mean, I am in that category. I make sure I'm accountable to people. Everybody is, in my view. Company founders who are already doing well, maybe doing really well, but want to take it to the next level. And just like you guys, you versus the average entrepreneur, you're on the webinar because you want to take it to the next level, right? Who wouldn't want to make more money? And people who want to become extremely effective leaders, managers, marketers, and entrepreneurs. Then the High Achiever program is for you. And for $1, it should be for everybody, for goodness sake. Okay, who is it not for? Our program is not for everybody. It's not for companies doing less than 500,000 revenue per annum. So if you're significantly below that, we're probably not for you. But if you contact us, Mark at thefortuneinstitute.com, we've got other programs for you. But High Achiever is all about getting a whole lot of top entrepreneurs in the room, so your peers are helping you. It's for people who aren't interested in focusing. It's not for people who aren't interested in focusing on sales and marketing. If you don't want to do marketing that brings in customers, if you don't want to experiment, if you don't want to have a go at lead generation systems, to be honest, it's just not for you. It's not for people who aren't prepared to invest in their future. Obviously, you've got to spend money to make money. And it's not for entrepreneurs who are happy to keep growing slowly. I'm not making a judgment about that. Some people are more than happy to grow slowly. No problem whatsoever. It's probably not for you. We're going to try everything to make sure you grow fast. So if that's not what you want to do, it's not for you. And it's not for negative people or complainers. Can't stand it. Don't want you here. We try and make sure all our members are positive, upbeat, can-do people. So we support each other, so that if someone comes into one of our quarterly weekends and they're feeling a bit down, by the time they leave, they feel amazing and feel supported and feel like they've got the answer to making their business really work. So we don't handle negative people. So next steps, if this sounds like you, if it sounds like you're our kind of person, fantastic. Try it for $1. You ask yourself, what would the great business people do? What would Aristotle Onassis do? What would Gates do? What would the great business people do if they saw an opportunity and their only downside was $1 and their upside was potentially millions of dollars? What do you ask yourself? What would they do? If you'd like to join us, next, I want you just to email quickly, and I'll tell you why in a second. Open another window of your computer. Open a separate window of your computer and email Mark at thefortuneinstitute.com. Mark at thefortuneinstitute.com. Mark, one of our partners. And just say, I'm interested. Include your mobile number, the business name, and your website. That's it. Just say, yeah, I'm interested. Mobile number, business name, and website. And Mark will set up a time to just have a 15-minute call with you, check out who you are, see if you're right for us, answer your questions in case you're wondering if we're right for you. And just say, yeah. At the end of it, you decide, yeah, you bet I'm up for this $1 no obligation, literally zero obligation trial. And he'll decide whether you're right for us. We don't take everybody. We just have a friendly chat and just see if you're right. And do that now. Mark at thefortuneinstitute.com. So I do have to tell you, this isn't kind of like a slimy sales technique. We book small rooms for these high achiever programs. We want to spend time working with you one-on-one. So spaces are limited, and I only had a meeting before this about the fact that a lot of spaces are gone already. So please, if you're interested, please at least email fast to make sure you're in it. Email Mark at thefortuneinstitute.com. Mark at thefortuneinstitute.com, and just make sure that you include your mobile number, your business name, and your website. And we'll set up a 15-minute call, chat, see if it's right for you. It's not a selling thing. It's just hey, here's what we do. Does that seem like it's good for you? Hey, thanks, folks. I hope you got some value out of this webinar. Can you just circle what you want to work on after this webinar? And for those who are kind of in two minds as they want to do the dollar trial, all I'd say is, for goodness sake, I mean, as an Aussie would say, grow a pair. Just give yourself the chance to have an awesome second half to 2017 and an awesome next 5 years by working with some people who know what they're doing. If you've got any value out of this webinar, then you should definitely do the $1 trial. It's a trial, for goodness sake. Otherwise, and even if you are going to join us, make sure you circle what is it? What did you most learn out of this webinar that you can put into your business and get working that's going to help you make a whole lot more business. And guys, girls, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. We've kept it a promise of being under an hour. Thanks for being part of today's webinar. We'll be back later on in the year with more webinars, and keep an eye out for our emails. I always try and send a weekly email to help educate you. Otherwise, let's see you there. Look at Georgia said, I've heard great things about you. I'm reading a great book which you are thanked in the acknowledgements, called I Want to Grow My Business. Fantastic, George. That's really cool. Tito says he's launching a Part Hotels Hospitality. Really cool, Tito. Peter agrees that one piece of information can be totally revolutionary. I 100% agree with that. For me, by the way, inside this webinar, developing a stay in touch system for old leads, was revolutionary for me, Peter. Pine has said, what if I want to sell my 10-year-old business in 18 months' time and want to boost my revenue from 2.5 million to 4 million by then? Pine, we can specifically design a program of activity for you purely for exiting. We have a program called Exit Big, and all it is to helping you design you to get the maximum price for your business, but also High Achiever program will absolutely help you do that. Inside our program right now, we have numerous people in the process of structuring their business to sell. Jacqueline, my absolute pleasure. I'm glad you really enjoyed it. Judy, same. Appreciate it. Leanne, she says, thank you. Some great suggestions. Yeah, well, I'm really, really glad that helped. Lisa says, awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for being here. Lynn says, I recommend this dollar trial. I have done this day, and it's given me the will to get up and go. Thank you. Well, thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that, and good to have you on this webinar. Great crew of people today. Thanks for answering my questions. Judy says, Simon, do you help with scaling businesses abroad? Absolutely. That Mura Boutique case study where I think it was 965% increase, Judy, that was their entry into America largely. And she says, currently we're based in Australia and New Zealand, looking to expand into US or UK. This is frequent. We got plenty of different brands. Another one that just comes to mind is someone who does baby various things for babies. They're really big they've been moving into the US. We've been advising there. So plenty of that happening, Judy, and happy to help you with that. Obviously, I'm based in the US, so I've been here for 8 years, so I know it very, very well. And I also know, got some good connections here. Guys, girls, thanks for being here. Email Mark at thefortuneinstitute.com. Join us for the $1 trial, or we'll see you later on in our various education programs for the Fortune Institute. Go out there and get them, guys. It's your business, your money to be had. Go and grab some. Bye for now. Have an awesome day.